I've always considered myself an all-rounder, one of football's hard workers. My greatest virtue was my work ethic, and in the end goals were something that came and went, but I think I was at least honest every time I went out on the pitch. The best feeling is that you've given everything and not held anything back, whatever the opposition.
There was once an invincible team. A strong team that made history by winning 2 Liga titles, a UEFA Cup and a European Super Cup. A team whose players' names can be recited from memory by Valencianistas, including that of Miguel Ángel Ferrer, better known as Mista. Versatile and adaptable, he had to explore many avenues until he found the path to glory, his first stop, Real Madrid.
For me, it was the pinnacle, because one always dreams that a big team will come in for you. We're talking about Madrid plucking me from a small town of 20,000 inhabitants, and it was like hitting the jackpot for me. But of course, then one is faced with the reality. I did get into the first team for pre-season and so on, but then I was faced with the reality, which is that I had to play for the team in Segunda B.
His move to Real Madrid did not go as expected, but soon his career would change course in the direction of Tenerife. It was a trip with ups and downs, but on that road he met someone who truly believed in him. In 2001, Mista and Rafa Benitez left for Valencia together to make history.
I came to Tenerife and it was a bit disappointing, shall we say, because in the end I could only play 11 games for the team, we were relegated, and in the end a bit of the shine was taken off things, especially on the sporting side. But a year later we had a transitional season in the second division. Rafa Benitez came along, and that same summer Valencia offered me a contract and loaned me back to Tenerife. It changed everything. I think it was a wonderful year, and then when we got to Valencia, the really good things started. Rafa Benitez has many qualities, but I think that one of the greatest virtues that he has is that the player who believes in him ends up doing better and ends up performing well above his possibilities. I think that happened to us. I think that with the passage of time we're becoming more and more aware of what we achieved back then. Football moves at an amazing speed. Today you win a game and no one remembers it. Everyone is thinking about the next match on Wednesday or the following Saturday. And our focus was a little bit like that. The first title was beautiful because it was 30 years since Valencia had won the league. When we see each other, it's inevitable that we speak about it again and remember those moments. Now we're aware of what it took and what it meant. It was historic and we will remember it for the rest of our lives.
After leaving an indelible mark at Mestalla, he returned to Madrid in 2006, but this time he hung his hat at the Vicente Calderón.
I arrived at Atletico Madrid and started very well. I began by scoring at the Bernabeu in a draw and everything was going well. The problem was that Martin Petrov got injured and he was the only player we had for the left side, and the only left-footed attacker was me. Javier Aguirre put me on the left wing. I started playing moderately well there before I myself got injured in A Coruña.
And it would be precisely at A Coruña where Mista would make his final stop in La Liga. Unfortunately, injuries again played a part.
It was nice, but in a certain way I have unfinished business with A Coruña and with Depor, because in the end I couldn't give them what they gave me. I arrived there hurt, problems with my pubis kept flaring up, and it was a stop-start 1.5 years. It was very hard for me.
And destiny meant that Mista has returned to where he was once at his happiest. Valencia is once again his home and club, this time as coach of the youth team.
My dream is to learn. My day-to-day dream is to become a better coach. And even if it sounds very cliched, you never stop learning here. Day after day you learn things that you couldn't imagine or didn't realize. Fortunately, I'm part of the academy at Valencia, where I think we have infinite possibilities to learn. That is what I value and what I intend to do day after day.
As a die-hard Valencianista, Mista hopes that one day the club return to the glory days of his generation in LaLiga Santander after some very tough times.
I think, like everyone who is experiencing it from the inside and everyone who loves Valencia, that what we want is for the club to recover and for Valencia to start looking at the top spots, where the club belongs.